We're looking at homework from section 2.1. This is question number 13. Use the given frequency distribution to find the class width, class midpoints, and class boundaries. So we'll start with the class width. The difference between the maximum and minimum data values divided by the desired number of classes rounded to the next highest integer is your class width. It is the distance between consecutive lower class limits. So, because we already have our frequency distribution, we have all of our lower class limits and upper class limits. So we can use the first two lower class limits to find the class width. The first two lower class limits are 35 and 40. So 40 minus 35 is 5. That means the class width is 5. So that's the answer to part A. For part B, we're finding the midpoints. The midpoint is the value that falls halfway between the lower class limit and upper class limit for any class. The distance between consecutive midpoints is the class width. So, we have our classes, and then to find the midpoints, we're going to add the two numbers together for a class and divide by 2. So for the first midpoint, we have lower class limit plus upper class limit divided by 2, which is 35 plus 39 divided by 2. That's 74 divided by 2, which is 37. So the very first midpoint is 37. The last statement, though, said that the distance between consecutive midpoints is the class width. We already found out the class width was 5, so we can just add 5 to the midpoints to get subsequent midpoints. So 37 plus 5 is 42. Add 5 again, 47. Add 5 again, 52. Add 5 again, 57. And again, we get 62. And the last midpoint will be 67. So those are your midpoints: 37, 42, 47, 52, 57, 62, and 67. The last thing we're supposed to find are the class boundaries. To find the class boundaries, we expand the interval created by the class limits by 0.5 units on each side of the interval. So if we have our class limits, we're going to subtract 0.5 on the left and add 0.5 on the right. So let's start with the first class. The first class is 35 to 39. We'll take our first lower class limit of 35 and subtract 0.5, which gives us 34.5. Then we'll take the upper class limit and we'll add 0.5, which gives us 39.5. So the very first set of class boundaries is 34.5 to 39.5. Let's do it again. We'll use the 40 and the 44. 40 minus 0.5 is 39.5. 44 plus 0.5 is 44.5. So that gives us 39.5 to 44.5. We do the same thing for all of those class limits to obtain the class boundaries. 45 to 49 becomes 44.5 to 49.5. 50 to 54 becomes 49.5 to 54.5. 55 to 59 becomes 54.5 to 59.5. 60 to 64 becomes 59.5 to 64.5. And 65 to 69 becomes 64.5 to 69.5. And that's your answer.